Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Sweden and we're going to do another brewery who I've never tried anything from. This of course was yet another release through Systembolaget on the 1st of October 2018, and I do recognise this brewery symbol. I thought I'd actually tried something but I haven't apparently. So for this one we're going to go to the Fjäderholm Islands, or Fjäderholmarnas as you would call them in Swedish, and we're having a taste of my first ever beer from Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri. So this one is their Dubbel Larsson. It comes in at 8.5% and this one is a double IPA. The label on this one I think has seen it's been a little bit damaged by Systembolaget. Normally when I do these reviews of course I like the labels to be kind of pristine, but when you order beers through Systembolaget unfortunately sometimes that doesn't happen. But it shouldn't affect the beer inside. Like I said, 8.5% double IPA this one, and I'm very curious to see how it turns out. I've heard these guys do an awesome Imperial Stout, so I'm very curious to see how their double IPAs turn out. But looking forward to trying this one. As I say, my first time encounter in this brewery, so hopefully it's a good one, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that hopefully I can do in the future from Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, like I said. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about the brewery then, and I do apologise if my pronunciation is a little bit off with this one. So the Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri is based on the small set of islands of the same name out to the east of central Stockholm. So the company was founded back in 2013 by Pelle Ågren and Andreas Willman, both of whom used to work for Mac the whisky distiller, and they often talked about brewing beer together, but they never really got started on it, and then eventually they began to homebrew, and they were homebrewing together for about a year before they eventually managed to sort out a premises for their brewery in late 2013, and then they had that ready to open in April of 2014. But they're now joined at the brewery as well by Tobias Forsberg, who is their brewer. But they have their own restaurant and bar, but the restaurant and bar apparently stops trading over the winter months, but it's open from spring to autumn. But the brewery itself runs as a kind of year-round business, and the brewery is located right next to the water, and apparently most of their customer base is actually foreigners. They don't get all that many people going across from Stockholm to actually visit them, but the islands are supposed to be very, very beautiful. So the next time I go up to Stockholm I will need to have a little look at that and see if I can get out there and try some of their beers. I'll need to make sure that's through the summer months of course. But the brewery apparently has its own boat, but this doesn't solve all the problems that they have with transport. They're talking about bringing new fermentation tanks and things out there, but of course when you're on a little island in the kind of Stockholm sort of bay area, if you like, it can be a little bit difficult to get things over there. So that's one of the kind of logistical problems that they have with this brewery. But in 2018 they produced around 70,000 litres of beer. They're still planning to reach around the 70,000 litre of beer per year mark, and around 1/3 of this is sold on the island, 1/3 of it goes into the rest of Stockholm, and the final third goes to Systembolaget and goes throughout the rest of Sweden of course. But yeah, an interesting brewery this one. If you look at the pictures on their website of the little restaurant and things, it does look very, very nice. The food is supposed to be very good, and as I say, the beers are quite highly rated as well. When I checked out their rate beer page, there was 29 beers were listed there, so they are fairly prolific if you consider the fact that they've only been going for around 4 years or so. They are kind of fairly prolific. They're bringing out a couple of different beers every year, which is pretty cool of course. But apparently they say the brewery itself won't grow too much in its current premises, so I don't know if they're looking to get a bigger commercial brewery or something like this. But an interesting little brewery just now, and it is cool to try something else from the Stockholm area. But yeah, I guess that's all you really need to know about them just now. If you want to learn a little bit more, check out the brewery website. You can read a little bit, and of course you can read beernews.se, which is where I get some of the information for these beer reviews. But yeah, check out their Facebook. You can keep up to date with all the latest goings on there. And apparently this year, I don't know if this is release number 4 or 5 or exactly what it is, but This one is we're planning to release 5 different beers through Systembolaget this year, and I guess this will be number 4 going by the date, I think, because there's another release on the 1st of December. But yeah, so yeah, let's have a little look at the artwork on this one before we open it up. Then there you can see the symbol of the Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri is this little anchor here, and this was what I recognised. This is why I thought I had reviewed something from this brewery before. But there you can see Dubbel Larsson, the 2 guys on the, looks like they're on a boat there, but there's a cat sitting outside of the boat. I'm not quite sure about that. Cat kind of sitting on the water or sitting on the grass, I'm not sure. There you can see there's the coordinates on the top for the brewery as well, and the islands, which is pretty cool. It has a little bit about the beer on the side here, if you want to focus on that. The anchor, of course, the hop flower anchor is on the bottle cap on this one. On the side here, yeah, it just says that the Dubbel Larsson's is a double India Pale Ale, also known as a double IPA. It can also be written as IIPA or Imperial IPA. It's a prefix from the old world, from the beer word basically, that double means extra crafted or something like that. And it's saying it's got it's got a lot of hops in it essentially, and a kind of bitter, a good bit of bitterness and a nice aroma. The name Dubbel Larsson is I'm not sure exactly, that we used for writing something double or crafty. So for example, two drivers in a boat, or something that gets the boat from the same, or 2 people that get in the boat on the same day. I think that's what it's saying, a Dubbel Larsson. So it's just meant to be kind of funny. I think it's meant to be like you've got sort of two guys arguing over over exactly what they're doing. And I guess since the brewery have their own boat, I do think that is pretty cool. But yeah, nicely presented beer, this one. I've heard that they're cocoa, they've got one that's called like Double Cocoa or something, that I've heard that I should have a go at that one, so we'll see if I can order that and review it at some point in the future. But without further ado then, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. As I said, an 8.5% double IPA. But yeah, let's get it out. You can get some really nice fruity notes off this one, just as you open up the bottle. There we go. That looks nice. Good bit of head on this one. It must have been bobbled around a little bit as it was coming across on the boat. But yeah, with this beer, you can see there's a nice it's a rich kind of goldeny orange colour. Going by the colour of this one, I reckon it's probably going to be more of a kind of West Coast IPA. But it's a nice rich, almost blood orange colour. You can see there's a solid 3 finger of a frothy kind of, it's got a slight beigey tinge to it actually, a sort of beigey creamy coloured head on this one. 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass there, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But the head, as you can see, is pretty big. But let's try and take a closer look at the aroma of this one then, and just see how we get on. Ooh, a lot of nice juicy fruits coming out of this one. I would say nice bit of orange in there. I wonder if there's some mosaic, because it's got a little bit of that orange. It's got a bit of an orange and almost blueberry note to it, and that's the kind of telltale signs of the mosaic actually. Yeah, it's mainly an orangey IPA aroma, this one. That smells really nice. Good little bit of floral aromaticity as well. You can smell some of the malty qualities, I think, when you sugar it up a little bit. You start to get a little bit of a malty quality out of it. Nice bit of a bready base, some sweeter caramel, a bit of biscuit maybe. But yeah, on the fruity side of things, a bit of orange. I think there's a bit of mango or something like that in there. I do wonder, is there maybe a little bit of citron here? But I think it's orange that's really jumping out of this one at me. It does, I think, I've got a feeling there might be some mosaic in there. I always like guessing the hops with these beers when they don't tell you what's in them. I reckon a bit of mosaic's in here. Maybe a little touch of mango or something like that. Yeah, oranges, bit of mango, maybe a little bit of pineapple or something like that. Yeah, it's got a lot of, as I say, I think the main fruit in this one is oranges. There's a bit of blueberry in there, so I kind of suspect that it's, I suspect that this has got mosaic in it, to be quite honest. I think there's a bit of a mango in there, maybe a little bit of lychee or something like that. Maybe a touch of kind of pineapple as well. So yeah, pay a little bit of attention to the aroma before you get stuck into it, but mainly I think in terms of the fruity side of things, it's oranges coming out of this one, or maybe a little bit of a kind of more tangerine note. But as I always say, take a little bit of time. Enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in, but I want to have a taste of this one now. So this one is the Dubbel Larsson, an 8.5% double IPA from Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri up near Stockholm on the Fjäderholmarna Islands, just in the bay. So let's get stuck into this one then. Slange, skål. Oh yeah. Right, I'll say straight away, I like this one. This is nice. It's, as I've said in numerous reviews recently, I've been missing having the bigger hoppy, the bigger bitterness, and the bigger, the slightly more caramelly flavours and things like that you get with the West Coast IPAs. This is bringing it back for me. There's a little hint of a kind of almost English character to this one in terms of that, and some of the the Swedish people do quite like that. They do quite like their English beers and things like that, so you can understand that. But for me, this one has the kind of character. It's got a little touch of that kind of English bready, grainy note to it, but at the same time, it's got the nice kind of caramel backbone that you'd want from the American West Coast IPA. So for me, this one really is hitting the spot, and I'll say straight away on the first sip, I do like this beer. Yeah. So, if you like a good West Coast IPA, have a go at this one and see what you think. If you're ordering it around now, you will still get it fairly fresh. I'm not sure if this is going to be in the regular sort of thing, or if this is just a sort of one-off kind of release, if you like. But this is a nice beer, I'll say that straight away. So let's try and kind of break it up a little bit more and think about it. So yeah, malt base in this one, you can feel the middle of your palate, it's just blanketed with that nice sort of bready kind of pale malty quality. You can feel that just forming the linchpin of the malt base in the beer. On top of that, you start to get a slightly thicker, almost very slightly doughy element to it, and then right in the centre of the palate, you've got a little bit of a kind of caramelly note to this one. As you go further out from the centre of the palate, it's got a little touch of a biscuity note in there. When you go into the aftertaste, you do get a little bit of the booziness from this beer. It's only 8.5% right enough, but there is a little bit of that boozy quality just sitting there lying in the middle of the palate. So which is kind of nice actually. You do want to know, when you're drinking double IPA, you want to know that it's a double IPA. It's interesting for this because, as I say, this is a brewery I've not encountered before. The kind of feel that you get from this beer, it actually reminds me a lot of Malmö Brewing Company. The sort of the mouthfeel and the way that the flavours and stuff are coming out in this beer, it does actually remind me quite a lot of the beers that I get at Taproom in Malmö. It's got a very kind of similar sort of feel to it, which is interesting. But yeah, the malt base in this one, this beer, I would say, it's not anything surprising from the style, if that makes sense. It's one of the ones that takes the style and does it pretty well. I think that's a fair way to kind of sum up this one. But yeah, it's got a little bit of that kind of caramelly sweetness is coming out in the centre of your palate, and I do like that. As I say, I've missed these kind of nice sweet, the sort of sweet malty backbone that you get from the West Coast IPAs. Back corner of the palate then, you've got a little bit of an earthy bitterness there. I'm pretty sure there's a bit of mosaic in this beer, to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure there's mosaic in this. You've got a little bit of an earthy bitterness there. As you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, you can feel there's a nice little bit of a kind of floral aromaticity to the beer. Then round the very front curve of the palate, it's a little bit lighter and grassy. I wonder if with the spicy notes in this, they've maybe put a little bit of Columbus or something in this just to give it a bit more of that kind of bitterness, because it's got that almost kind of spicy note to it, which is interesting. So I would wonder if they've used Columbus as the bittering hop in this one, and then they've put other hops in later in the brew to to give it the aroma and to give it the flavours and things like that. Because it could, I'm just thinking, I don't think they've put Chinook in this one because the grapefruit flavours aren't all that strong, and it is more of a spicy kind of floral aromatic note than a sort of dank piney thing, I think. So I do wonder if they've used Columbus in this as well, because Columbus doesn't give you that many distinct flavours, it just gives you that nice spicy bitterness. So I'm wondering if there's Columbus in this beer. As I said, round the front curve of the palate you get a little bit of that lighter grassy note, but then if you go behind the front curve of the tongue, that's where you get that nice oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters start to come out of the beer. Yeah, and for me, I think it's either Amarillo or Mosaic that's in this one. There's definitely a good orangey presence to this beer. There's maybe a little tiny touch of a grapefruit there. If you go towards the back of that kind of that front section of your tongue, if you just go there, you can feel a little bit of that darker, slightly sour grapefruity flavour there. Just kind of forming the base of the beer, and that builds a good bridge between that kind of spicy floral aromatic thing on the sides of the tongue that I was talking about. But for me, it's mainly an orangey flavour that's coming out of this one, and I'm not sure exactly whether it would be whether it's Amarillo or whether it's Mosaic, but definitely a nice oily sort of orangey flavour coming out of this beer. It really is nice. This is a well done double IPA, make no mistakes about that. They've done a good job with this one. If you've been missing these kind of more caramelly West Coast IPAs, then this is a good one to go for. If you're watching in Sweden at the moment, order one of these and see what you think of it, because it is really quite well done in my opinion. Yeah, that's good. I like what this one's doing. I'm starting to think, as you go further into the aftertaste, and when your palate adjusts to this one, the bitterness just kind of dies away a little bit in this. Your mouth really does adjust to this one. I do think there's Mosaic in this one, because on the front tip of the palate you really are getting a little bit of that almost kind of blueberry flavour kind of coming out of this beer, and for me that's the telltale sign of Mosaic. As I say, I like playing guess the hops with these beers. I may well be completely wrong, but I think there is a little bit of Mosaic in this one. If not, I think it will be Amarillo. But yeah, nice big oily orange flavour to this one. As you go further into the aftertaste, you start, that blueberry note kind of lingers there. Some of the spicy floral aromatic notes that I was talking about are sitting there too, and there's a little bit of the earthiness, and you can get just a little touch of the nice sweet caramelly notes from the malt base in this one as well. But overall, this is a really solid West Coast IPA, and it's cool to find a brewery in Sweden that are producing these things. So I'll need to stick their name into Systembolaget and see if I can order one or two more of their beers. As I always say, when you're reviewing a new brewery, you want to have a little look at the darker side of things, and you want to have a little look at the lighter side of things. But on the basis of this beer, it makes me very curious about the other things that they're doing. So thumbs up to Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri for this one. I do look forward to trying more of the beers. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say this one's at the top end of mid-bodied, maybe even pushing the bottom end of full-bodied. It's got a nice smooth carbonation to it. The mouthfeel overall is quite oily. There's a good little bit of hoppy bitterness. I would guess it's maybe around the 60, possibly 70 IBU mark, somewhere around there. It does have a nice bit of bitterness to it. Like I said, I think there's a bit of Columbus in here. That's giving it that nice spicy character. A nice little bit of a juicy fruity note to the beer, and the malt base has a good balance with some nice kind of caramelly sweetness in there, and there's not even a little bit of alcohol warmth from this. It covers the alcohol warmth very nicely. And for those of us in the south of Sweden, if you like the beers that you get at Malmö Tap Room, this brewery, I think the way that the mouthfeel and stuff is coming out for me really reminds me of the beers that they produce. So if you like that sort of thing, I'm pretty sure you will enjoy this one. If you're missing the West Coast double IPAs, I think you will enjoy this beer as well. But yeah, very, very cool beer, this one. I would recommend it if you enjoy a good West Coast double IPA. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. So this one was the Dubbel Larsson, as I say, I think a West Coast double IPA at 8.5% from the Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri, just outside of Stockholm, on the little islands in the bay next to Stockholm here in Sweden. A lovely, lovely beer, and I'm glad that I got to review this one. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Fjäderholmarnas Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri is, and hopefully I can review more from them in the fairly near future. Make sure you check out my social media, and I will catch you guys very soon. This was the Dubbel Larsson, a double West Coast IPA at 8.5% from Fjäderholmarnas Bryggeri, just near Stockholm in Sweden. Until the next time, it's Landon just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Skål!